mission is to build a future where no one needs to come out anymore. Together, we can create a world where everyone has the right to love, to succeed, to have a family, and to live a full, happy life. Today we are back with Kate, and as promised last week, she's here with her partner Sophie. And I will invite them to introduce themselves. Who want to go first, or do you want to go together?
We can go together.
You can go together.
Fantastic. Go for it.
Hi, my name's Kate. I spoke to you the other day, but today I'm very lucky to be here with my partner Sophie.
Hi.
Hi, Sophie. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Who's here for the first time.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you so much, Simona, for listening to Kate earlier and for inviting me as well.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Now, last week, we find out a little bit about Kate, what she's doing, and can we find out a little bit more about you, Sophie?
I'm studying 2 days a week at a lab technician school because I'd like to work in a biochemistry lab.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 other mornings a week, I work in Kate's lab as a phlebotomist. Some mornings I'm at work with Kate.
That must be really nice.
It is. It's always really nice watching her walk past in her lab coat. Yeah, irresistible.
I love it. And thank you for the introduction. And let's jump in. So Kate and Sophie will share with us their experience of coming out. And let's start with Sophie.
For me, that's a tough one because I was really, really lucky to have a family where I didn't exactly need to come out.
Oh.
Because for one, it wasn't a big deal. 2, my elder sister was in a same-sex relationship for years. So even as an 8-year-old, I'd watch my elder sister and her girlfriend just sitting on the couch plucking each other's eyebrows and laughing and tickling each other and thinking to myself, wow, that's incredibly awesome. What a beautiful relationship. So it wasn't ever treated like a thing. So it was nothing you really actually had to come out and say because it was so normalized.
Wow. I love that. That's our mission here, to create a world where no one needs to come out anymore. So I'm curious, how was it to be you? How is it to be not needed to come out?
It's as easy as that, though. It's as easy as not making it a big deal. It's as easy, well, I guess for families where they don't have like any queer role models or if the children don't really see it normalized around, then I guess it would be a more awkward subject to bring up.
Right.
I totally agree. That's what we should be moving towards. And it's not hard. It's not hard for it to be that way. It can be that easy, but it's just been made so hard.
Wow. That's so powerful. It's been made so hard.
Yeah.
So for someone that didn't need it to come out, how was the first conversation? Like when you actually talk about it?
Okay, it wasn't even a conversation. It was me saying to my mum, look, I've met this girl. She's really cute. And then just introduced her to my mum. And that's all. Again, it wasn't really a conversation. It was just like saying, hey, I'm dating. And this is who I'm dating.
Wow. So it's a conversation about dating, not about who do you date, if it's a girl or a boy.
Yeah, pretty much. It was just about who I was dating.
I love it.
I know. I'm very, very lucky and very much indebted and very grateful to my parents for just raising us in that environment. It was, idyllic. It's what it should be, really.
Yes. And I'm so grateful that you are here to show us that this is possible.
Very possible, yeah. It is. And it's very easy. So, don't be grateful to me. Be grateful to my wonderful parents.
Oh, absolutely. Big thanks to your parents.
Now being with Kate and relating all the stories of being a kid, and she kind of points out to me, it's like, well, that's pretty gay. So she's kind of pointing out to me how it was very obvious to everyone but me how queer I was from the outset, like being a little girl and perving on other girls and just, things that didn't actually occur to me because I didn't have to come out. So
right. And I could see that was the norm in your family and your parents did an amazing job. And I'm curious, have you ever had to experience being treated different just because you are gay? I mean, outside of your home?
Well, my first experience of that was little teasing comments, of course, in the playground. And then, of course, in high school, girls I was in class with, they had found out that my elder sister was queer. I don't know how they had found out. And that led to a lot of awful comments. like asking me if I was worried my sister would ever try and have sex with me, just awful things like that. And that was actually my first experience of how the world wasn't how my family had made it. So I just burst through that little safe bubble that our family had built and discovered that, yeah, gross, the world was not this beautiful place. People were not going to be accepting, and worse, people were going to be really cruel about it. So it was about 13, and then from there it just went to hell. I mean, it was a very small mining town. People were racist, small-minded bigots for the larger part, and it was very hard to find anybody who wasn't the immediate family to feel safe with.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess that's where you start internalizing your homophobia. You see it just thrown at you every day, and it sinks in. It sinks in a little bit. So the family did become the safe haven, and I started to realize how very big the world was, and that big world was mostly homophobic.
Mm-hmm.
So from a really wonderful start with the parents, they can only really protect you so much, can they? So, yeah.
Right.
That would be then. It wasn't really when I was an adult. It was when I was about 13.
Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry you have such an experience. I mean, the kids could be really cruel.
Yeah, they are, especially if their parents have raised them to be so.
Right. As children, we don't have judgments and we don't have filters.
Yeah.
We just do whatever the parents taught us.
Yeah, we accept everything as it is. Which I guess those kids did. I guess their parents had raised them to be bastards, poor them really, but nothing really prepares you. It's like we had been raised to believe that it was not a big deal or anything, that love was love, and we absolutely adored my sister's girlfriend. She was just one of the family, and she was hilarious and funny and strong and weird, and we all loved her, and we all loved my sister. It's not like mum and dad sat us down, which maybe they should have, and gone, look, it's totally okay for your sisters to do what they're doing, but you're going to encounter all these people in the world who think it's not okay. I think that's probably the conversation we needed to have with my parents, was to warn us that there are not nice people out there, and that the world is a lot more homophobic, and that the world isn't this tiny little safe family that we have built.
Right.
But I really could have used that conversation. I could have used that warning before I guess I set off in the world. But again, it shouldn't be that way, should it?
Yes. And this is new. It's the first time when I hear that. I wish my parents have told me that there is homophobia out there. And what we have in the house is not the norm out there. So moving on, let's direct our attention to Kate.
Yeah, her coming out story would be vastly different to mine, I think.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay. So I came out when I think I was around 19 at the time. I think it was roughly around that age. I'd been thinking about it for a while, I guess, but a while was more and more a hot topic in my mind, I guess. Even though it was so obvious looking back on it. Like, I had so many pictures of female celebrities on my wall, like the celebrity posters.
Who was on your wall?
Who was on your wall?
Who wasn't on my wall? The first poster I had on my wall was Jennifer Aniston, and I remember Mum made a comment to me, and she's like, when I was your age, I had pictures of boys on my wall.
Uh-oh.
And I think I was in year 7 at the 12. So that was my very first poster.
Oh.
Like, I'd put a couple of posters of like female celebrities, and then I'd break it up with a guy and then more females and a guy, just so it didn't look too gay, I guess. But look.
You kidding.
But I didn't realize at the time that that's what I was doing. I just wanted the females. I didn't want any guys, but I just didn't want to draw attention to it or something. I don't really know what went through my mind.
Seems to me that between your preferences of having posters with girls and your mom comment of having poster with boys, you find a solution.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I just didn't want to be judged, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, and then I was starting to think more and more about things, and like, I'd always had, I guess, little crushes on girls at school and stuff, but I always thought that I just wanted to be their friend, which is a very common thing. Or even like my sister, she grew up doing dancing, so I'd have to go to the dance concerts and all of that. And like, I would always point out girls to Mum, and Mum would use the excuse to see them as a role model. So maybe that was in my mind. That's all it was. Just like a role model, or I wanted to be their friend. It's
really easy to confuse at first whether you want to be somebody or want to be with that person.
Yeah.
Totally. Very confusing. So it's like, do I want to be like her or my interest is totally something else. It's just I don't have the language for it.
Yeah. And when we're also being trained as young girls to absolutely despise our bodies, so looking across at a very attractive body, it makes it even more confusing. It's like, am I supposed to look like that? Am I supposed to have this physical reaction to looking at someone who looks better than me? It becomes so tangled because it's really tied into body hatred as well.
Right.
Well, my experience anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it just got more intense as I got older, and like in high school, all my friends would have crushes on guys, but I just never did. And I would just pick out like the most popular guy and just say that I liked him too, just kind of as a cover. Because if so many people like this one guy, then I just kind of said that I did too. But also in my mind, it didn't even cross my mind that there was something a little off about that, and why am I doing this? I just kind of did it, and I don't know if my head was just in the clouds or something. I don't know. I really don't know what I was thinking back then, but I didn't think it was abnormal or anything, which I think is probably a good thing because it probably saved me a lot of internal hatred or anything that I might have felt from feeling different. I don't know.
Right.
Honestly.
Feeling different also could feel lonely.
Yeah. So it just got more and more intense. And then after I finished school, so I think I was about 19, like I really, like things started to click and connect, and I didn't know anyone that was gay. So back then it was hard to, I guess, properly accept what I was feeling because I didn't really know anyone else. And how am I going to tell anyone about this? Because I've never really been completely into really personal stuff. I did have some really good friends. It was like I had a wall up. I never really felt like I could be open to anyone. Not that they didn't make me feel like I could talk to them. I was just, I don't know, I just had this wall that I couldn't break through. I went to school with this girl, quite good friends with her at school, but after school we just kind of lost contact. But I knew through friends that she had actually come out as gay like a year back. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll talk to her about it. And then I was coming up with these ideas in my mind of like how I'll talk to her, how I'll bring it up. And it was back in the days of MSN Messenger. So and she was online like quite a bit. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll talk to her on there and then ask if we can meet up somewhere and have a chat, and I'll try and come clean to her then.
So you basically find the person that you felt safe to share, trusting that she won't judge you and she will understand what you're going through.
Yes, exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
So how did it go?
So I remember I was so nervous. I was shaking, and I just started talking to her. I don't remember exactly what I said. And then I asked if she maybe wanted to catch up. And then she made a comment about, but you do realise I'm very different to what I was like at school. I think her words were, she's a lesbianic alcoholic. I think that's something along those lines was how she worded it.
That's different.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, it's about that. And then she realised that that's what I meant. And then she's like, oh, definitely. We ended up talking about, it's the first time I've ever spoken to anyone about this. I was quite held back still, but it was amazing. I don't know what I would have done without her. To me, having that person that I knew was gay that would definitely be accepting was really important to me.
I'm so glad you found her. And I'm curious, based on your experience, what you will advise a teenager to do in similar circumstances?
I would say find someone who you feel comfortable with, who you feel safe with, who won't judge you. I think that's very important, and just try to be honest with them and go from there.
Okay.
But make sure you're ready yourself to tell someone.
How do you know you're ready?
You just kind of know. It just felt like it was time, like I needed to share it. Like I'd worked out finally out of all of the things that I went through in the past, coming to terms with it, not realizing that what I was doing actually meant something else. It took all of that to make me finally realize that, hey, I'm very, very gay. And then I just knew that it was time, and I just worked out that that's who I wanted to tell, and this is how I was going to do it. So, yeah.
And again, I'm very happy for you that you find that person to come out to.
Do you think it would have taken longer if you didn't have that one particular person in mind to tell?
Probably.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who I would have told.
So that person's like crucial for you coming out of that
She was
time.
crucial to me,
Yeah.
yes.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yes.
So we have one person that needed to wait for a while to come out because was nobody in her life being gay. And then we have the other person that didn't need it to come out because she was raised into a inclusive family. And I'm curious now, as adults and as a couple, are you finding yourselves in situations and circumstances when it still needed to come out?
Damn, that's a good question.
I don't really feel an expectation to come out, but I want to be open about myself, about my partner. Like everyone at work talk about their partners in their lives. And like when I started there, I just started talking about myself. It was just, it wasn't like coming out. It was just talking about yourself, and everyone was just like, oh, okay. And just, it was fine. And yeah, meeting new friends, be like, this is my partner, Sophie. It's not like, oh, I'm gay.
Right.
Yeah, you don't
Just
have
so
to,
you know.
you don't have to write it on your forehead, but
We're just trying to be as casual as possible about it.
yeah, it does get a little bit uncomfortable. I think sometimes people might think that gay people talk too much about being gay, like we're sitting there trumpeting it. And for me, it was awkward for me mentioning my partner or anything like that, because things would go a little bit quieter in the room, and then I'd worry about talking about it too much or not enough.
Which is the same for a heterosexual couple. You know, some people talk too much or not enough about their spouse or about their children.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you say partner. So I want to ask you guys, what is the right terminology here?
Well, it's a difficult one because it's got to do with pronouns as well. Like if there's a gender non-binary couple, they might not appreciate being referred to as the boyfriend or the girlfriend
Because they don't identify as either. So
Right.
So that's why it could be just a safe bet, just saying partner.
Yeah, that's why using partner is the safest bet.
I see.
I've preferred that people have used that for me. I've just had casual conversations either with patients or even, I didn't even really need to come out at school. I didn't really feel like talking about my personal life. But immediately the other older women started talking about boyfriends for me and things like that. So it was already qualified that I should have a boyfriend, which kind of backed me into a corner, and I had to say, ain't going to work, I'm gay, so there's definitely no boyfriends for me, and I'm very happily partnered. So thank you for making me feel awkward.
Right.
That was really me, unfortunately. But apparently, if you're a young woman, the thing that people are going to talk to you most about is, do you have a boyfriend? Are you going to get a boyfriend? Are you going to marry that boyfriend? Are you going to make babies for that boyfriend?
Right. It's all about limitation on knowing or not knowing. And speaking about that, what about holding hands in public? Knowing that some people might say something that is not necessarily pleasant. How do you guys deal with that?
We'll always hold hands, even if we're walking down the street and people make comments, we just keep on walking. Like, I don't feel like I should stop holding Sophie's hand.
I feel like I need to hold your hand in those situations. It actually helps me feel safer. And it's the heckling and the comments that you can get. We've heard some really awful things. I mean, it was our third day.
Yeah.
We were watching a free movie on the beanbags on James Street, and James Street is in Northbridge, which is a really, really shifty part of Perth.
Okay.
And we were harassed by this fella who absolutely thought he was totally entitled to sit down with us. And he could see that we were holding hands, we were having a nice time, and he got pretty aggressive. And this was during the plebiscite as well. So the evening was kind of weird and edgy after that. And we just wanted to be on a date.
Right.
We heard that a few times, that
We heard shit like
people
that.
feeling like they could say whatever they wanted to because they voted yes.
Right.
So, during the plebiscite, we had a lot of straight people who thought they were somehow heroic because they had voted yes for us. So when they saw us out in public, they felt entitled to our time and could come up and say whatever they liked to us, and then qualify that with, oh, we voted yes.
Really?
What are we supposed to do in that situation? Just shrug and go, well, thanks for your vote. Are we supposed to be grateful to you and now put up with your harassment? Or
So uncomfortable. Weird.
it was a really weird time to start dating as well. It was such a strange climate. When the yes vote came in and we were both driving to work and we pulled over onto the side of the road and just started hugging and crying.
So beautiful.
Yeah, what a time to start dating.
I had no idea that even in the times when people vote yes, you guys needed to deal with this uncomfortable situations. I'm so sorry.
And there's also, positive as it was that the yes vote came through, like I don't want to put a damper on it, but
No. Yeah.
Looking in reverse, what was the percentage?
It was 60 to 30.
Wow.
So we've still got around 30% of people who voted no, who went out of their way to vote no in the plebiscite. So
Wow.
I think all non-queer friends were jumping and dancing around, and quite a lot of queer people were still taking it very personally that there's still a huge chunk of Australians who, not just voted no, but went out of their way to oppose how we should live as people.
That's so sad, especially coming so late in a game, so to speak, after so many countries in the world voted it yes already.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Why is that? What do you think? What do you think happened?
People went out of their way to, I think there was ones found, like people put water in post boxes and that just to destroy them, and
people were sabotaging lots of votes. And Kate and I driving home on the freeway, and there was a sign hanging from an overpass that actually said it's okay to vote no.
Are you kidding me?
And there were people up there protesting.
Wow. How was it like for you to see that?
Again, we were having the most wonderful day, laughing and singing along to some terrible music in the car, as we do. And then we just came up under this huge sign, and I didn't know what to say. I didn't know whether I should try and let humor or get angry or get upset. It was the weirdest feeling knowing that there are people in I think it reflects back to being raised by my family, and it's still a shock to know that there are such hateful people who don't realize that they are being so homophobic and awful. It's still a shock to me that that's the world.
Sadly, yes. How do you deal with that?
It's really hard to describe. It's really hard. That's why I didn't know how to react, because I actually didn't know how I felt about it. And I didn't know how to comfort Kate, really, because I didn't know what I was feeling.
Yeah.
What about you, Kate? What did you think? What did you feel?
Seeing the sign, I think I was more angry at the time. Just like someone spent their entire afternoon to stand on a bridge holding a sign against love. Like they've gone out of their way to just stand there holding this disgusting sign up.
Right.
And it's a sign that was designed to make awful people feel better about being awful. Like, it actually said it's okay to say no.
In the greater scheme of things, I wouldn't take anything back. I love being gay because it means that I get to be with someone like Sophie. So it's, even though the things that we go through every now and again are definitely not pleasant, it's worth it. It's worth it. It is.
Great. Such an inspiration. All we could do is just continue to do the work and hope that the world is getting better and better.
I do believe the world is definitely getting better. There's so many more supportive people out there. You hear stories on the news about, there was like a talent show or something. Oh yeah, that's right. There was a talent show, and this young boy wanted to do a drag act, and then the school said,
"Oh, that would have been so cute."
I know, the school said he's not allowed to because it's against their rules or something, even though it's not. It's just a performance. And then all the other students got behind the kid and offered their support. And
I love it.
And now even RuPaul's Drag Race reached out to him, and he's been given all these amazing opportunities now. So it's a really positive end to what started out as a really sad story.
It really feels like there's a lot more allies now. So it's not just queer people, got our friends, our family, our straight allies too. Pretty cool.
Yes. It sounds so strange to hear you say straight allies.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Is it as weird to say gay people? All these labels, right?
It actually felt awkward for me saying, hey, we've got straight allies as well, because it's weird labeling straight people.
Yes, it's weird either way, because it's splitting the people into groups. So it's separation. And we are looking for a better language to be inclusive without the need of saying the word inclusive.
The language improving, and it comes from conversations like this. I mean, Simona, when you were asking about whether it's okay to use boyfriend and girlfriend, and we decided that the safer option was just to use partner. That's how we change the language, and that's how we make the language more safe for everyone and more inclusive without actually having to use the word inclusive. So it's happening. Yeah.
Yes. And being in a heterosexual relationship,
I really like the word partner, is because that
tell me that we are in a partnership.
so we are partners.
It's a partner. You're a team. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. I like that as well.
Well, I'm very grateful that you share with us about your partnership today. And in closing, I just want to say that
I'm very happy for you guys that you find each other, and it's just such a beautiful living testimonial that one could come from a background that doesn't need to come out, It just get to be, and that's our goal here. And thank you, parents, and to your family that it show us that this is possible. And then you have another person that it's coming from a background where there is no role model, there is nobody to identify to help navigate this a little bit more easier. And yet, the beautiful universe brought you together
with love and in love. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Thank you very much for having us on
Yeah.
your podcast again.
The pleasure is mine.
It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Redefine Family, a Spark Transformation podcast. Feel free to share your story, knowing that your story could change someone's life. We invite you to spread the love by sharing our message with others. And leave your comments at spark@redefinefamily.com. Until next time, remember that you are the spark in your life. Just shine bright.